Rob Tebbutt here for ID Boxing, joined by George Groves. George, in the immediate aftermath of that stunning knockout win by Chris Billam-Smith. He never makes it easy, but that was some finish.
Some finish. Chris, he punches hard now. He doesn't crowd his work like he used to as a newbie pro. Now he's on the verge of elite now. He's world class finish as always with Chris. Heart in your mouth stuff. He likes to give the fans value for money. Looked like he got caught over the top with a right hand after a lazy jab, and he looked like he'd done a little dance. I'm sure he'll say he never, but at ringside I was like, ooh, but yeah, he got the job done, man. He showed what he's all about.
You were there with Chris at the very start of his pro career. How much has he improved, and how different is he as a fighter now compared to where he was when you first came into contact with him?
Oh, he's light years ahead of where he was. Light years, but with Chris, the difference is in what he does. It doesn't look like too much, but it has so much of a different effect. He doesn't now crowd his work or smother his work or make hard work of it. He's sharp. I think he reads the shots better. He's a more complete fighter, and now the technique on his punches has improved as well because he now punches harder. I haven't been in with him recently, so I don't know. I can't actually testament to how hard it hits, but he looks like he's hitting fucking hard. I was in a change room with him today, with you, Rob. You can see it. You can just see it, feel it, and he carries himself like a champion now as well, which is a sight to behold.
Just on that punching power, I mentioned it at the start of the interview, that was some finish in the 5th round. Zhou, thankfully he's up on his feet now, but that was a heavy knockout.
Yeah, heavy knockout. I love to see the replay. I think it was a right uppercut, left hook, the last 2 punches, but it was a barrage of punches that all landed flush. Chris is a big lump, and he puts everything into them punches. A lot of weight goes into them. Yeah, it looked pretty good. It's a lovely way to end the year with a proper, knockout of the year contender.
He's brought the last 2 shows down here as a headline event, as we just get drowned out there by the Bournemouth crowd. Is he ready for a world title? Is that what's got to be next to CBS?
I think so. I mean, he's now in this period here where he's got to beat these sort of guys before he gets his shot, I think. But I'd like to see him in the mix. I think he's ready. I think that's the next step for him. Making that last leap of faith for a world title is always the hardest in some ways, but everyone has to do it at some point. I feel like Chris is ready. He's mature. He's pretty good, pretty well seasoned now. He's had some acid tests he's had to get through, and he's pretty much done it every time. So I'd love to see him get a chance. Don't ask me to reel off the champions now on the top of my head. I can't pronounce their names even if you're repeating them back to me, but I know he's in line for at least one of them. Robbie, tell me which one, and I'd love to see him fight for it.
Final quick couple from me. One, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billam-Smith, George, in the new year in January. How'd you see that playing out?
I'll make Eubank the favourite. He's got natural size to his advantage. He's the A side. He hasn't really got momentum of the Chris Eubank, Conor Benn thing, but he's feeling good about himself. People are starting to like him a bit. I think he likes that. And we'll see if we can get underneath Billam-Smith's skin. Billam-Smith's been about, but he is temperamental. He does bite. But it could be a banana skin for Eubank. Really could be a banana. When the fight was made, I was like, really? I didn't see how the risk to reward was there. But obviously Smith, former world champion, moving up in weight, but they've made it a pay-per-view, and it's gonna be a big show. Could be a banana skin for Eubank. He's a neat and tidy little boxer, Smith. He does a lot of things well. And it depends which Eubank shows up. If Eubank needs to come, in my opinion, and throw volume, he's going to have to dig Smith downstairs, try and hurt him to the body, and then, just give those sustained attacks, put him under real pressure as a bigger man. Depends how tight Eubank is at the weight. Back down now at middleweight. If he's really cut and really tight, then that's going to be difficult for him. That'll catch up on him. They both get cut, so that could be a factor. I've got to say Eubank favourite. I think Eubank wins, but it's a big but. He's not a massive favourite for me.
And final one from me. You are, of course, now a podcaster. I guess you're sort of a rival of mine. The George Groves Boxing Club, absolutely flying. As we see Robert Smith. Robert Smith's coming on the podcast.
I'd love to come on it, no problem at all.
There you go, we got it on video, Robert.
I'll come on
He
it.
can't wait. He's on. Robert Smith.
God bless you.
Yeah, all going very well on the George Groves Boxing Club. Shout out to Deck Taylor. We like to use ID Boxing as a little platform to him to promote, but all going well there.
Yeah. Deck Taylor, he's sensational. And the trouble I've got is, you know, like when you see fighters and they drop their standard when they're with a shit opponent, sometimes he comes back from ID Boxing, I've got to raise him up. Do you know what I mean? He's sunk down to that level, and I can't have that, Rob. So I'm back up. So I'm getting back up. Deck carries the show. Obviously, I'm the eye candy. I'm there, and Deck does his thing. We got a couple of big hitters in the pipeline for the new year. We've got some already banked that will go out as if we've recorded them there and then. We've got some big names that we want to get on. Fingers crossed, Rob. You know what it's like. It's all booked on paper. Whether it happens in real life, we're hoping. But looking forward to. Talking about podcasts, Shane, you know.
Oh, fucking him and his podcast. Listen, this is CBS's moment. He's selling his podcast. It's pretty good. Get my episode.
Yeah. Shane's is pretty good. Chris was in the change room just now, and they've written off all the things he's done this year. And then it was like, yeah, but also, he's been on the George Groves Boxing Club podcast, and he thought, yeah, fucking cracked it. I mean, that was where that punch came from, I think, tonight. There. So.
The art of inside fighting.
Yes.
George Groves, always a pleasure. I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Lovely, Rob. Thanks, mate.